Today it's time to take my OEM Plus suspension setup on the 3rd gen Tundra just a little bit further. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Talon and I make new videos every single week. So if you like install videos and truck modifications like you see here, consider clicking subscribe. Now I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a background on the suspension setup on my Tundra so far, just to catch you up to speed. Going into building this truck, I didn't want to make it too crazy and over the top right out of the gate. The suspension is relatively factory, and I have a whole playlist of modifications that I've done to this truck if you're interested in wheel and tire fitment and everything else that is going on right here. So as far as the suspension goes, I'm running factory TRD off-road suspension basically all the way around. This truck does have the red axles, which allows me to get a little bit more of a lift out of it without putting stress on the CVs up front. So I'm running TRD factory upper control arms as well as some Bilstein TRD shocks all the way around. And then for the front, I'm running a Westcott spacer lift, which gives me a little bit of height, which makes clearing my 37-inch Firestone MT tires just a little bit easier. And then in the rear, I was previously running the Westcott spacer back there, but I decided to upgrade the springs to a Dobinson. And this gives me a little bit more lift. I believe it's about a 2-inch lift in the rear. And of course, it allows me to carry more weight in the back because of course we have all sorts of campers. Previously the Kimbo, now the Anti-Shanty. This thing is probably gonna be on here for a long time. So I decided let's help the truck out just a little bit more before we completely rip off all of the factory Toyota suspension and do something crazy. Maybe Fox, maybe Kings, maybe, I don't know, some other suspension. So today I say we're taking it just a little bit further because I have some really simple parts for you guys to install, and this is going to make the off-road performance feel a lot better. Both of these right here are active off-road bump stops coming from Timbren. We have one for the rear, one for the front, and the install of this is really straightforward. I'm gonna walk you guys through the whole thing. And then in the future, once I get this thing out on the trails again, we'll see if we notice a difference. But the side-by-side comparison of what's on the truck now versus these Timbren bump stops, I can already tell it's probably gonna make a big difference. So let's jump around to the back of the truck and we'll start back there. Now, starting with the rear bump stop, I've got a little light in here, and this is the factory rear bump stop, which hardly looks like anything. So that is actually what we're gonna be removing. There's a couple bolts here, one on the top and then 2 underneath the frame. The rubber bump stop and this bracket will all come off together. Now you could probably get away with doing this with the truck completely on the ground. I just jacked up the rear a little bit so I have a little bit more room to work through the top here. You could also take your tire off and make it easier, but we're going for speedy quickness here. So let's pop this bracket off so you can see how wimpy this factory bump stop is. All right, first one here, this is actually a 12 millimeter. They're actually not very tight from the factory. And then when you put all of this stuff back together, you probably wanna use Loctite, blue or red. I'm probably just gonna use a little tiny dab of red because these bump stops should be good for the lifetime of the truck. And even if I do switch out the shocks and the springs and some other stuff, it's not gonna be an issue. These can pretty much stay in place. Longest threads ever. There we go. We are going to reuse these bolts, so hang on to those. Got another one right underneath here. And then last but not least, one more right over here. All right, here's a little side-by-side comparison for you. This is the factory bump stop, that tiny little piece of rubber there for this big heavy vehicle. Not adequate. This Timbren active off-road bump stop is gonna be taking its place, and you can already tell how much of a difference that's gonna make. This is probably gonna act as sort of like a progressive bump stop too. It's gonna be good for off-roading. They also make stronger ones for people who are hauling and towing with their truck, but this is going to be really nice because I'll get full articulation, and then this will kind of be progressive as it softens out the hard blows. Now we do have a new bracket to mount this up. They are marked. So this is the left one, driver's side rear. I have a little bit of a spacer plate right here and then a countersunk Allen bolt that goes through the top of the bracket. Inside the bump stop, there is a big washer in there. And then I'm also going to put sort of the cradle on the top like that. Drop the bump stop down. Now we're going to use a 14 and an extension like this right here to get this thing started. Once you get that going, I'll throw an Allen on the top to keep things tight. Get that nice and tight, and now we can put the new bracket on. Another quick size comparison here. Stronger bracket, so less deformation, bending, braking, way bigger bump stop. This is gonna probably ride really nice. Now in reverse order, we'll just put this back in. I'm gonna start with the top bolt, put it in loose, and then I'll throw the bottom ones in and then tighten them up all together. A little bit of Loctite on there so that these things don't back out. Actually gonna get underneath the truck for this one. And then last but not least, there you have it. Now moving on to the front bump stop, it's this tiny little pathetic thing right here. This one, all you really need is a wrench. And this is the biggest kind of like pliers wrench that I have. So instead of grabbing it on the flats, I'm just gonna grab it up here from the top, kind of clamp down on it. Loosen it just like that. Easy. Now here is another side-by-side comparison, the stock versus the Timbren. It's gonna make a big difference when that lower control arm comes smashing up into the front. I do have a winch and a full steel bumper on the front. It's actually the low pro bumper, so not full bumper, but you guys know what I'm saying. And this one, I actually don't even need this nut here. Just gonna throw a tiny little dab of Loctite on there. Now this one I can start by hand. And then once that gets close, switch to a big old Allen. This is a 5/16. This is gonna vary depending on the truck you're putting these on too, but it's all gonna be pretty similar. Tighten that down and we're good to go. All right, so that's it. About a 10-minute install. Got rid of these wimpy factory bump stops, and now we got some good ones from Timbren. These come with a lifetime warranty as well as a 100-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not happy with the product, you can hit them up and get your money back. But my guess is they're going to perform a lot better than these little wimpy things. I can't believe this is what comes on the truck from the factory. Now, Timbren did send these out for me to test, so thank you guys. And I'm gonna be leaving a link in the description down below if you guys want to pick some of those up for yourself. As far as driving impressions go, you'll have to stay tuned for the next video when I'm out in the Tundra, where I can put these bump stops through some paces, hit stuff a little bit quicker than I typically would with these in place, and I think it's gonna make the ride a lot better. So hopefully this helped you guys if you're looking for a little bit of a suspension upgrade without breaking the bank and a very easy install. If you have any questions on it, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer anything as best as possible. Also, shout out to Lucid Wraps. I needed a garage because my garage is a mess right now. Jake, let me use his shop. Thanks, dude. Bang. Also, check out this mural that he just got done. So sick. I wanted to film the install in front of this, but my truck's too big. It looks so rad. Octopus with the squeegee and the torch and everything. Super dope. If you guys need some vinyl wrap or any other kind of like car care stuff for your own vehicle, come find Jake at Lucid Wraps. So that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.